My name's Ruth Nabasirye from Uganda. That is central part of Uganda. I'm 30 years old. I joined this movement through counselors who were involved in two disability movements. She was a lady who came and talked to me, give me advice like I should join since I look like to be someone who can really advocate for disability issues in future. She really encouraged me to join. And maybe another thing, when I was in my nursery, I can call it like disability movement. I went in a nursery of children with learning disability. There were also others with wheelchair, other disabilities like physical, but it was basically for learning disability. I think that's somehow, somewhere, that's how I came to join like disability movement. I got polio when I was 2 years old. I grew up basically with my mom. They were not staying with my dad together, but I grew up with my mom, and she really catered for me, for the side of my mom. She was the one who used to carry me. By that time, I had no wheelchair, and it was difficult, like moving to school. To going to school, she could carry me, that was nursery level, on her back, and then she takes me to school, she comes for me, she brings me back home. When I was at home, I just used to crawl without using a wheelchair because I had no wheelchair. And by the time I joined, when I joined that nursery level, there was some Dutch people in that school. And then there's a lady who just picked interest in me, like saying I'm very stubborn and funny. So she said, like, yeah, I'll look after this girl. I'll pay for her education. And then later she had to give me a wheelchair for the first time. I was really happy because it was so hard, like moving, crawling, or carrying me on back. She gave me a wheelchair because even my mom encouraged her because she saw that she was so determined to see that I go to school. And my dad, he never cared. At first he cared when I was in primary, but when I had somehow lost contact with my friends who were paying my fees, I went and requested him to give me fees. He was like, no, I can't give a child fees who has a disability. You have no use. I'm just saying you don't have any use. I said, you just do housework. You should not go to school, or if not, you go for craft work or like tailoring. And I said, no, me, I want to go to school. I'll do tailoring later. It was like he was not agreeing with me. I just go back to school and lie to school that they're bringing fees, yet there was no hope. I could not tell my secret. I managed to study very slowly by slowly. Then, good enough, I had friends like teachers, the headmaster, my friends. They could sit and talk with me, the teachers. Then when I explained the whole situation, the headmaster said, you do exams, and maybe you look for any other step. When I was with my dad, I really suffered because he could expect me like to do every work. After seeing that he was not giving me fees after I was working hard, I said, let me give up with him. I said, let me go back with to my mom. Maybe I'll get any other opportunity. I did well. I did a degree, Makele, in secretarial work. And I passed with the second class degree, second upper degree. And only that, getting out of the school and the employment is getting a job is really difficult. Yeah, for us as people with disability. That is also a hard part of that life. Because they just expect that you can't do anything in your life. You can't do something good. Sexual violence is really high. And some time back it has been really high in our country. More so in war zones. Like been having a war for over 20 years in northern Uganda, whereby so many women or young girls with disability have been raped. They are being raped, left with pregnancies, helpless, and then they get that tumor, so they end up like being affected seriously. Some girls come to accept any man because they feel it is just a chance having a man. They don't have any say, like maybe I should refuse. They just feel, yeah, God has brought chance. Let me just go with anyone, any man that has come to me. Anyway, that they don't even get space of like looking at a man to find out the behaviors of a man, and in the end they end up with men who are just going to use them. So in Uganda, like in organization where I'm volunteering, National Union of Women with Disability, we've decided like to have such a project where we could go on to teach young girls with disability to come up to really come up and feel confidently to say no to men, most of those ones who just want to use them. They come, they just give them money today, and then they accept. After that, they just leave them like that after using them, which is so painful. So we saw that many young girls were just suffering in that context, and we had to come up to help them. And some of them are really just learning. I think they were just doing it because they were ignorant. They didn't know much about it. So that's how they really suffer. And men just come during night to make love with them. And then during the day, men just don't want to interact with young girls. They just want sex, then during the day they just leave. They don't want to see them interacting with those young girls, which is very bad. Yeah. And then they leave them with children they're not going to cater for. So we see that that is sexual violence to young girls in Uganda.